In honor of our chalice flame that has been lit, I would like to share these words from you, with you. They are from Reverend Erica Hewlett. She writes, "We light this chalice, affirming our relationship with one another, recognizing both the importance of our agency and the connective power that draws us together. We light this flame for all that we are, for all that we have done, and for all that shall be done by our shared ministry, which encourages those within, beyond, and outside our walls." And now, Mignon. We are all on a journey. We cannot dissent or refuse this journey. It is superimposed or indeed brought into our very flesh and bones as a part of our fate of being human. This journey is defined by being born, growing as a child, growing into adolescence, young adulthood, heading towards middle age, and then slowly making a movement towards old age, and ultimately that final destination, unknown to us, is what is beyond our life. But that journey is part of our heritage of being human. Now, I must say that I shift around the stages of this process. For example, the older I get, the further back the beginning of old age gets. So that now I see it as somewhere vaguely between 95 and 98 is the beginning. But very wise people like Carl Jung made the point over and over again that life becomes more interesting, or can be, as we age. And he believed it was the people who were the most aged in society, who were most capable of a spiritual maturity that evaded other people. So old age is itself an important part of the journey, and Carl Jung, to give but one example, wrote major works beyond his 70th birthday. This trajectory of life creates a process that we internalize as a journey with a narrative. And while we're on this journey, people join us, spouses, friends, relatives, children, grandchildren, and they too, this assortment of people, are with us on this journey. They too, like us, are given no way out. They must live it. Our family, our community, the religion we grow up in or the lack thereof, the society we are in, the economics of it, the degree of racism, and many other factors contribute to defining our journey. All the conditions and characters on this journey, especially the initial parts of it, are not chosen by us. Not only is the journey imposed upon us, but the particulars of the characters in the journey are imposed on us, although that might be too severe a word to use. We need wisdom for the making of this journey. It is possible to opt out, to ignore wisdom which might come our way from whatever source. But if we are to be resilient, and live fully, wisdom must be a part of what we learn. Wisdom I'm defining in a specific way as the means by which we can find peace, well-being, love, even joy as we make this journey. And that list could be much longer. Other people can help us, and certainly do. Without other people, our life would be empty. But there is a limit to what other people can do for us to help us on our journey. There are parts that we must do ourselves, and sometimes people can hinder us. One of the sources of wisdom is words that awaken and uplift us. This need for words to reflect something precious is reflected in the fact that all the major faiths of the world have scripture, have words, whether it be the Hebrew scripture, the Talmud, the Quran, the Bible, the various books of Buddhist teaching, of which there are many, the Hindu scriptures that Ralph Waldo Emerson was so fond of, and sacred scripture of every tradition. These collections of wisdom represent the belief, the conviction, that amid the change, chaos, brutality, and confusion of life, there are certain teachings of wisdom that are important to pay attention to amid the fray of daily existence. For UUs, it is not so easy in that there isn't a sacred text that's part of a cultural tradition that can be our Bible, as it were. Thomas Jefferson, famously or infamously, tried to deal with this problem, of which he was well aware, by creating a source of inspiration by editing the Bible, boiling it down to 88 pages, extracting what he considered to be the irrational parts, and leaving all the valuable parts as he saw it. He was a man of no small self-esteem. Ralph Waldo Emerson, in the 1830s and 1840s, one of our religious forefathers or forepersons, got to a point early in his life where he could no longer read the Bible. It just resonated with too much around him that bespoke a Christianity that he didn't want any part of. And he found, however, great comfort in the Hindu scriptures. I knew a minister from Omaha, Nebraska. He has since passed away many years ago, but he often talked to me of his dream to create a UU canon, a set of books that represented great wisdom sayings of all traditions, of humanist traditions. He was himself a humanist, but he had this idea, this vision that UUs needed a Bible, and he was going to try to put it together, but he ran into difficulty with copyright laws. Years ago, I think it was 1992, one of my colleagues, Reverend Marilyn Sewell, created a book of inspirational thoughts and poems from and about women. The book, Cries of the Spirits, is a treasure trove of wisdom and wise sayings. It is like a Bible for UU women, as it were, and others. And of course, preachers try hard to serve in this role of dispensing guidance and wisdom with mixed results. Ralph Waldo Emerson sort of gave up preaching at an early age because he thought it was a futile enterprise, but there's a guy named Harry Emerson Fosdick who was one of the great preachers of the 20th century. And to give you an idea, John D. Rockefeller built the Riverside Church for Fosdick to give him a place to preach. because he had such a hard time finding a place, other places. But he was a great preacher, and he wrote many wonderful books. But he said preaching was like a man or a woman 12 floors up in a building and having a dispenser for an eye drop. I don't know what they're called. We have an eye doctor in the house. They could tell us. But having a dispenser that let a drop go out that was meant for the eye, and the people you were trying to dispense the eye drop to were 12 floors below, and the wind was blowing. And so the minister is like, the preacher is like this person with this little dispenser pushing out little drops that are meant for the eyes of people 12 floors below. And I think that is a very accurate description. The point is that it is difficult, nay, it is impossible to find, to be able to find the right word, the right words, the right phrases that are helpful, healing, and beneficial to specific people, given all the facts of the particular of their age, situation, circumstance, condition, and challenges at one specific period of time. To be helpful, to dispense wisdom for the walking of this journey. We need words which inspire us, that are exquisitely attuned to our personality, our situation, our needs, our challenges. And such words cannot be mass produced. We need words which help us remember who we are. We need words that echo what we know in our deepest self as being the most important things. We need words to remind us what we already know, which is what we care about most deeply. We need words that can be like our best selves speaking to us out of a void when we have forgotten what that actually is. We need words that can rescue us from the anime of modern culture. We need resources and words to rebuild and to renew. We need resources to restore hope in ourselves and in one another. Not once, but again and again and again, as we make this journey through life. We need words that pierce us like an arrow, that go right to our personal heart center and awaken us. I know someone who, in a time of being caught up in trying to understand as a relatively young person, making their way through life and trying to figure out, well, what does make them happy, and hearing so many mixed messages, read something from the late, great Thich Nhat Hanh that changed their life, who wrote, when we're caught in a belief that happiness should ever take a particular form, we fail to see the opportunities for joy that are right in front of us right now. I know someone who was a serial business creator who knew something about failure, who was uplifted by Thomas Edison's statement, I have not ever failed, I have just found 10,000 ways that do not work. I know someone who was grieving the loss of a dear friend and colleague, who was comforted by the words of the late Forrest Church, UU minister, who said, death is not a curse to be outwitted at any cost. Death is the natural pivot on which life turns, without which life as we know it could not be. Wisdom sayings don't need to be long and complicated. On the refrigerator of the fellowship, everybody can go look at it after the service. There's a sign right by the place where you grab the handle to open the door that says, "What are you waiting for?" I can't tell you how many of my mornings have been disrupted by me going in there, looking for my yogurt and seeing that sign, "What are you waiting for?" A person could create an entire religion from that one phrase. One person may find certain words and readings comforting, helpful, and deeply beneficial. For another person, those words may ring hollow. That is the way it is. Only each of us can know what inspires us, what lifts us up, what gives us courage and hope, what revives us and gives us resilience, vision, and a dream. Find what inspires you. Let it feed you. Follow the trail that those words create, which inspire you. Each person, in the end, if you are you, is fated to compose their own Bible. A Bible just for you, for no one else, that can be a treasure trove to help and support and clarify your life. What makes your spirit soar while helping you keep your feet firmly planted on reality? What makes you feel strong when you are feeling weak? What helps you to love and care, both yourself and others, when the cold air of indifference blows around you? These are the words to treasure, to guard closely, to share, if you will, or if you desire, with no one else but you, to bring into your life continually and let it feed you. If we do this, then the realization slowly emerges that these words that inspire us are like rocks on the ground that create a path that we can firmly put our feet on and walk forward in this most uncertain destiny that we all share. I look forward to the meeting after the service today because you will have an opportunity to affirm a covenant. And this covenant is, in a way, like a shared document that inspires you, that brings you back to your truest self, that gives you orientation, and an inspiration that can guide us all. I look forward to the affirmation of this collective vision of how you will be with one another. And now, the choir. On the event of the memorial service in 2017, at a General Assembly memorial service for UUA moderator Jim Key, a minister by the name of Reverend Kevin Tarsa, who is a community minister in California, wrote a prayer in the spirit of Psalm 23rd. And I thought I would share it because it's a remarkable example of someone struggling to build a bridge between the present and the past, this piece of scripture that is so important for many people, Psalm 23, and he attempted to recast it, and he did so as follows. May I remember in this tender moment But love is my guide, always. Like a shepherd moving me toward ways of openness and compassion. I have what I need, really, with love in me and around me, below me, in front of me, behind me, in every cell of my body. Love infuses everything. Just when the weight of the world I inhabit threatens to drop me in place and press my hope down into the ground beneath me, love invites me to rest for a gentle while and leads the center of my soul to the quiet, still, restoring waters nearby that somehow I had not noticed. And so love quietly sets me once again on its tender and demanding path. Even when walls close around me and the cries of death echo through untold corners, gripping my heart with fear and sadness, I know that all will be well, that I will be well, that when love whispers near to me, glints in the corner of my eye, rests with gentle and persistent invitation upon my shoulders. Yes, love blesses me. Even as the sources and symbols of my pain look on. Love blesses me from its infinite well, and I turn and notice that goodness and kindness and grace will follow me everywhere I go. I live in a house of love, love that will not let me go. I live in a house of love and always will. And now, Mignon.